Move to agenda item number 1. Consideration of a recommendation to award a contract to upgrade the Emergency Operations Center. Kevin, you have the floor.
Good evening, Mr. President, Mayor, council members. Before you is a recommendation to award a contract to Tech Ops of Stevensville, Maryland, for approximately $128,000 to provide audio-visual upgrades to the Emergency Operations Center. The Emergency Operations Center is going through a major overhaul, the first in a very long time, and part of that overhaul is a revamp of the technology that's in there with the intent of providing situational awareness throughout the city. And that situational awareness comes with integration of radios, communications, satellite, and cameras, TV, weather, and then software applications. Along with a new look. It's the configuration's different. There's a raised floor in there, and just to make it much more useful. But primarily to provide situational awareness. The current system, EOC, does not allow us to provide all the displays we have, especially in cameras. We have a lot of cameras now that are available throughout the city. And this system will allow us to put them in different monitors, in different display, in different rooms. And then most of all, we will have a large video display on the far wall, a 2x8 video display that would allow us to put matrix and many different displays in that matrix. This will be a competitive, under current finance policy, this will be a competitive bid waiver based on integration with the command unit and the existing stuff in the command unit. There's a compatibility clause in the finance policy that allows us to do this when we need to take like equipment, like it's in the command unit, and connect it to other pieces. Tech Ops built a command unit. They're familiar with the equipment in the command unit. And additionally, future projects, this equipment will then be pushed down to the police station in a future project to integrate their displays to take advantage of all the cameras and provide situation awareness in communications. And Tech Ops is the vendor to do that.
Okay. Karen, are you fine with this approach?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Since this involves some security issues, if you have a general question, feel free to ask Kevin. But if there's specific questions, I'll ask that you direct those to Kevin and the city administrator outside of this meeting. Any general questions, Mr. Ricks?
Well, I was going to ask why it was not put out the bid, but obviously that's been explained, and other than that, we have nothing to compare.
Okay. Kevin, how old is the current facility?
How old?
Yeah.
I would say it's probably approaching 12 years,
Okay.
if not 13, 14.
All right. Ms. Crary?
Well, 12 years is relative because we do constant improvements to our emergency center, correct?
Excuse me?
It's relative 12 years old because we do constant improvement to our emergency center, correct?
We've done constant improvement as far as upgrading a computer. As far as the displays and how those are driven and what goes into them, no. That is newer technology that is probably within the last 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm. How do we know not? I understand the competitive bid waiver, and you should have somebody that worked on it, but how do you judge? Because you're more of an expert in this area than we are as to how much we should be paying for this.
I ballparked equipment, and I mean, unfortunately, the video switcher itself is to get all the inputs and drives. We are driving HD 4Ks now. Just that box is $50,000 to $60,000. I did ballpark equipment to make sure that we're not out of whack. And then there's also other stuff. There's radio integration. We'll also be using this room probably as a classroom now too. There'll be a whiteboard display for training. There'll be iPads to direct training to certain monitors. So it's pretty advanced technology.
Yeah, and I know how much the switcher cost when we went from HD on the television station too, so I know they're quite expensive. So if it's the same technology.
It is exactly, it's newer technology, it is the same manufacturer.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Creary. Ms. Nicholas.
Just a couple questions. So you said this room is going to be used as a computer training classroom?
Probably not computer training, because we have a computer training lab, but we will probably hold webinars and classroom-type stuff related to emergency management and stuff like that.
Do you know, could you give me a number of like how many new pieces of equipment that's included in this total price?
Well, we're probably going from 2 monitors to probably 14, 15, maybe even 16. Just the main display itself has 8 42-inch monitors connected together. And then there's a policy room has 3. That room has 2 or 3 more. There's probably 3 more in the main room. A whiteboard.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Nicholas. Mr. Smalls.
Mr. Frost, how confident are you that the integration between the command center and the mobile command center can't be done by any other vendor? That is, there's nothing that's compatible out there that you have to sole source this.
Yeah, so one of a couple issues we have is in the integration. One is the satellite itself, and that's proprietary. And to connect that into the system, only the tech ops, that's theirs. So that integration would have to be done by them. The other thing is there's some other equipment in there that's warrantied. That way, if we would have another company working on it, there's potential we would break the warranty. And then the other is the technical configuration as far as the network connecting the two. And that is the piece that is covered in the policy related to compatibility.
And how old, as far as the command, and maybe this is getting too deep in the weeds now, but how old is the equipment in the command center, the mobile command center? That is
5 years.
5 years. So what's the general life expectancy? I'm just thinking about, are we going to next year be looking at doing major overhaul and upgrades to that unit in order to stay compatible with what's in the...
We would probably be looking at 18 months to 2 years, 18 to 36 months.
Okay.
Yeah, so some of the drivers on this is our camera software, and that's driving some of this. And we now are just bringing up the latest software on the camera, and that has a lot of new features that we currently can't really use that will be available.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And just one last question. You mentioned about a raising the floor. What's the purpose of that?
The purpose of the
wiring under the floor?
Yeah. So the configuration has changed. Before, all the desk and tables were against the wall.
Yeah.
That is not the case now. The policy room, there's a policy room, there's a conference table in the center, and the main room in the EOC now with the configuration is talking about a big conference table with 16 positions with computers, phones, monitors, and that will be in the center of the floor. So it really called for a raised floor to bring the wiring up through the floor.
Once approved, what's the timeline?
I would expect that this will look like an EOC and be in testing by the end of August.
Okay. All right. And I hope at that point the council will have an opportunity to take a look at it and
I think it'll be
Our names on the
impressive.
wall.
You should go back there and look at it now before it all gets done.
Okay,
So that like the floor's in.
excellent. Okay, all right. Thank you.
I just wanted to say,
Go ahead, Mayor.
I just wanted to tell you, Fred, we did, where I work, they have a command unit, went through the same thing. They just did a single bid for the same company.
Same
The
kind.
satellite and the other stuff that they're dealing with, so.
Yeah, and as far as the work for Tech Ops, they've recently completed Anne Arundel's and Howard counties, a similar scenario.
Okay, thank you.
As an emergency center or as a portable emergency van? Have they done both for the other counties?
Yes.
Okay. Huh? Well, there's a lot of companies like that. Okay, so any specific questions? Like I said, get to Kevin through Marty Flumian. And if there's no objection, this will be on the agenda for approval on Monday night. Is everybody all right with that? Okay.
We can take a walk back there after the meeting if they don't want.
Yeah. Okay, thanks a lot, Kevin. Move to agenda item number 2. Consideration of a recommendation to award a contract for Canteen Rehab Vehicle Replacement. Mr. Flumian.
Thank you, Mr. President. As you're all aware, the city put together a committee to study our current canteen and develop recommendations for the potential for replacing that unit. And as a result of their deliberations and recommendations received on the condition of the unit, primarily mechanical, it was decided that we would pursue a replacement. And as you recall, in January, a contract was awarded, a not-to-exceed contract was awarded for $85,000 to purchase the cab and chassis for the unit. The design of the body itself was still ongoing. What we have this evening is a recommendation to go ahead and purchase the box unit. We have, as a result of our meetings with the committee and field trips to look at canteen units and rehab units, we decided to pursue work through Custom Mobile Food Equipment Incorporated from Hamilton, New Jersey. I'll tell you that at the present, they do not have any government contracts open. They have numerous, hundreds of government contracts, but at present there is none open for us to ride. The prices that were submitted based on recommendations of the committee were reviewed and found to be in compliance with anticipated expenses for the items that were and in many cases were below the costs on contracts that were recently completed. Additionally, this evening you should have received a copy of the spec sheet. Hopefully yours are highlighted in yellow are all the items that are specific to this company that we're recommending. They're rather lengthy. I won't go over them this evening unless you have any specific questions, but the recommendation of the committee is to purchase the box unit from Custom Mobile Food Equipment for $148,950. There is a specification or a cut sheet showing the layout of the unit. You should have a copy of that as well. We are still in the process of trying to determine the demise of the old unit. We had put out feelers for the sale of the unit. We actually thought we had a taker, but that we are still looking to sell the unit. We have taken advantage of the Maryland Municipal League's ADGE for surplus property that they have in their magazine as well as online. And the vendor that we are looking to award the contract to is also working with us on trying to find a vendor for the purchase of that unit. Right now, our expectations for the purchase of the unit, based on its condition, we have removed quite a bit of equipment from it, but we're looking anywhere in the neighborhood of $10,000 to $12,000 resale value on that. And that, sir, is all I have. I'll take any questions.
All right, Mr. Fleming. Mr. Smalls.
The funding for this project, CIP, and supported by funds from, is a collection of funds from a variety of different unused projects or?
All advises that surplus funds from other projects into the capital fleet program
Okay.
to fund this purchase.
Okay, all right. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Smalls. Ms. Nicholas.
Can you tell me how many miles is on the useful that we have?
I don't believe it has an odometer. It has an engine hour meter. And I really couldn't tell you at this point what that is. I know it is far in excess of the anticipated lifespan of the power plant that's in it.
Thank you, Ms. Nicholas. Ms. Crary.
Other than being new, what upgrades are you looking forward to? And perhaps should we have some of these committee members here that will actually be utilizing it to answer these questions?
We have solicited support from the committee members to attend the meeting Monday night in support of this purchase. But I can tell you that for the most part, what excites me the most is having equipment on the unit that will work when it's needed. There are components that are supplied either electrically or by combustible fuels from lines that are behind the wall panels in the unit, failing. And due to our concerns with the explosive continued gas in the vehicle and the generator that was originally came with the unit had to be upgraded and replaced. And with the, I'll call it power conditioning, if you will, the older generator and the older wires were somewhat compatible to each other. Now we've got a newer, more powerful generator, and the wiring system in there was failing because we actually had a generator that was doing what it was supposed to do.
Yeah. The CDL situation, are we training some younger people?
We believe that we have a unit that will no longer require a commercial driver's license.
Wonderful. What does Custom say about that?
I'm sorry?
The ones that are building it, say that it'll be built for...
Our requirements up front was that we attempt. We understood that, that we had desires for what was actually going to be installed in the unit, and that would govern, because of the weight, would govern whether a commercial driver's license was needed or not. When the unit is completed, it will be run through a scale, and that scale will determine its final total weight, and that will assign the commercial or the driver's license class to the vehicle. But from everything that we've spec'd out right now, it is our best guess that it will no longer require a commercial driver's license.
So no food in it, and put our skinniest driver up front, and we may pass?
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Curry. Mr. Ricks.
Thank you, sir. Marty, let me understand the yellow striping. What does that mean again?
These are items that are specific to the vendor that they have designed and copyrighted. I'm not going to stand here and tell you that they're not being used by other companies for the assembly of Canteen units, but if they're using them, then they're paying royalties to this company. So that affords us a better price.
So everything that are on these 2 pages are going to be contained on our Canteen?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
Everything that you see on this list is basically what we're anticipating will be installed on the unit. What is in gold is what is specific to the company. They hold the design credits.
All right, when I was reviewing the specs the other day, I noticed that we've got on the specs a freezer.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct? Okay. How big is that freezer? Give me some kind of an idea.
Do you have the square footage on that?
I mean,
Or the cubic
it's,
footage?
I mean, is it small or is it large?
7 cubic foot.
7 cubic foot.
Okay.
It's a small.
And just, I'm trying to understand why we're doing that. What was the conversation? Because we had a freezer on Bertha, and we very seldom used it, if at all. And so I'm wondering what the thought process is with the committee about having the freezer on there.
Well, where the unit is stored, there'll be a freezer there, a full-size freezer there. And in our efforts to keep the weight down as much as possible on the unit so that we can open the operations of it up to non-CDL drivers, we expect a smaller unit.
Okay. The other thing, how about an awning for the outside?
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Allen would like to add something to that, please.
Go ahead.
Also, Councilman Ricks, what we've done is we've met with the Anne Arundel County alarmers and the Baltimore County folks, along with some of the Prince George's County folks, and apparently some of the stuff that the firefighters and police officers are asking for now is a lot different than just the regular hamburgers and hot dogs. They're asking for frozen carrots, some other frozen vegetables that can be easily thawed out and given to them. So we're kind of looking at changing the type of stuff that we want to give to them, and that way we need a little bit more freezer space than we guessed.
That certainly makes sense, and thank you for that response. How about the awning on the outside? Is it going to be an awning?
I believe so, yes.
It's not a fold-down awning. It's raised up doors. So the doors where the windows are, where the serving windows and all are, they fold up. They'll have lights in the roof of it, but it provides the same thing as with the awning. And the reason why we went with that is because of the issues that they've had through the past with the electric awnings and even the manual. So it was cheaper to go that. It provides as much protection, plus it's lit. So
It makes sense again. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, and look forward to it.
Thank you, Mr. Ricks. Ms. Smalls, you had another question?
Mr. Fleming, I just had one follow-on question. Under your recommendation number 3 regarding the feasibility study to look into a nonprofit, what would the purpose of that be? Can you just tell us what the purpose of a nonprofit would be, what its possible funding sources would be, et cetera? I mean, I know this is all preliminary at this point, but
Currently, we have an operating agreement with the Laurel Volunteer Fire Department for the auxiliary members to staff and operate the unit. We're looking to broaden that to other volunteer agencies that, for instance, we have just executed an operating agreement with the First Baptist Church of Laurel. There'll be a volunteer distribution center for us. But they also have people that we can utilize their skills, push them through the county's food handling permit process, and then have them also available to operate the unit. Basically, our goal is to have the unit completely operated by volunteers as opposed to having to provide paid staff.
Would that operation in any way include maintenance and upkeep also?
At this point, I would have to say no. Obviously, we're going to have a warranty on a brand-new unit, but in the foreseeable future, I see our Public Works Department is providing most of the maintenance of the unit. The operating agreement we have with the Volunteer Fire Department provides them the opportunity to use the unit to raise funds for the fire department. That's contained within the agreement. We might be able to work out something with these other volunteer corps groups to come up with a similar arrangement and exchange that for maintenance services or for other. But at this point, operations are, the way we see it, are confined to Public Works.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Smalls.
Thank you.
We've got several questions here. Let me start. This is a diesel engine box, is that correct? Okay. Does it have one generator or two generators?
This one has one that I'm aware of.
Well, because back here it says skirt-mounted 3,300 watt diesel generators. That's what I'm asking. Okay, so I assume that this company knows they're going to have separate filters on each. Is that correct?
Yes.
I think they use Raycor, if I remember correctly, because they need water separators, because they sit for a long time. Water's terrible with diesel engines. It says here on the upper left-hand corner under notes, are these upgrades to the big diagram? And the reason I ask is it says 40-gallon freshwater tank. Then I go down to the bottom right-hand side, and it says 20-gallon freshwater tank. Well, 40-gallon water tank somewhere, I need to know where it is. I don't see it. That's all I'm saying, Mr. Ricks. Let me finish my questions. It says below that 15% greater wastewater tank, and we've got water over where the toilet is. I assume I just don't see it.
The toilet is intended to be an incinerator type.
Right.
So we'll have water coming in, but the only water that will be exiting the restroom
sink.
will be from the sink.
Okay. I'm just saying that you got something up here on the left-hand side that's not consistent with what the picture shows. That's all. The last question I've got, do we have one compressor or two compressors for this refrigerator?
One that I'm aware of.
Okay, because right below the stainless steel countertop work area says compressor located below with a door. Then the next door over says compressor compartmented below. So I'm just asking, I don't know if you got one or two.
Let me double check those.
Yeah.
I don't know at the moment.
Just ask, do you have one for the freezer and one for the refrigerator? I don't know.
Yes, sir. I believe there's two. There's one for the freezer and
Right.
one for the refrigerator.
Okay. So it's
if I can say it.
Okay, excellent. And the last thing I've got to ask about, is there any reason we don't have an interior entrance into the bathroom too?
Primarily for health reasons.
Okay, the health department doesn't want
Well, I don't know that we couldn't construct it to address any health concerns, but
okay. I'm always worried of somebody getting outside of the vehicle to go to the bathroom.
let me just say atmospherics would probably...
Well, Marty, I figured you guys would figure that one out. Okay.
Mr. President, that's correct, if I could add. The health department has stated you cannot have any interior access to that bathroom. It has
Okay,
to be
all right.
standalone by itself.
Excellent, okay. And then there's an awful lot of lights on this thing. Okay, you got a 3,300 watt generator. Is that big enough? I'm asking the question. I don't know.
We sized the generator to allow for the lighting and all the electrical demands plus 15%. So
I mean, I'll go to what Mr. Rick said. You don't want to be sitting there and everything poops out on you all of a sudden. Because you got 3 air conditioners on this thing, too.
yes,
Okay.
we were concerned with the expense that we went through to replace and the difficulty we went through to find a generator for the old unit.
Right.
That we wanted to make sure that basically what was spec'd was more than adequate for what we were looking for, because the size of the generator dictates the size of the compartment and also has an effect on all the other components that are being
I
installed.
think our goal ought to be to get by something that 12 years from now, it's still operating. That's the bottom line in my mind. I'm sure my colleagues feel the same way. We're spending a lot of money on this.
Well,
Okay.
if I can just say, the Anne Arundel County Alarmers Association and the City of Laurel got their money out of this unit.
Okay, what kind of graphics are we putting on this?
We're looking at a wrap. As you probably recall, in our budget, we have funds set aside for a graphic artist. We're
Right.
going to look at employing the graphic artist to come up with something that
Okay,
is
good.
specific to Laurel, to go on the side of it.
Excellent. All right, any other questions?
Well, Mr. President, let me point out one other thing about the bathroom.
Sure.
When operating Bertha and you have the bathroom inside, you're already crowded at that 47, 48 foot that she is now. When you're dropping down to 24 foot,
Yeah.
you want to keep people out of the action. So by having the bathroom on the outside, it takes care of 2 things: health department and the operation of the unit.
Excellent.
If I could, Mr. President, the generator size is 33,000 kilowatt
Yeah.
as opposed to 3,300.
Okay, again, I'll just say that the 33 is not consistent with what's up in the left-hand corner. That says 35,000. Okay, so just might want to annotate the drawing for consistency. Okay.
We will get this corrected,
All right,
sir.
is everybody ready to approve this on Monday night?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Mr. Fleming.
Thank you.
Move to agenda item number 3, consideration of a recommendation for the purchase of AXON Cameras, evidence.com. Chief, you have the floor.
Good evening. Before you should have a memo that is subject of bid recommendation for AXON Cameras /evidence.com. In 2013, we started buying the body-wear cameras, the personal wear cameras. We executed a contract with Taser for not only the equipment, but the extended warranties, the transfer docs, and the evidence storage, which was managed by, or the video storage, which was managed by evidence.com. Recently, Taser has separated their entity of the cameras and developed a company called AXON, which is the same camera. It's the same product. Nothing has changed. However, because of the change, there's a number of attractive contractual improvements. So we as an agency, because of the Tort Claims Act, have changed our retention period from 180 days to 366. We also requested, based on that, we requested a quote to renew the contract with AXON and to add additional cameras because we have additional officers coming on board, and at some point we're going to have to buy some cameras and we're going to have to replace our cameras. The submitted quote included all the data storage, licensing for 55 cameras from our 52, all accessories and replacement of all our current equipment now. And then every 2.5 years, they will come in and they will replace everything that we have. So this is a 5-year contract. It is totaling $33,216 per year for a total of $159,971.43. Based on the fact that, again, next year we're going to be replacing the first round of cameras, and we're basically looking at a 5-year replacement schedule, this is a very attractive cost savings benefit to the city. Currently, in FY18, there is $16,334 earmarked for bodywork camera maintenance and evidence.com. By entering this new contract, $22,604.45 for FY 2018 will be due, plus a one-time shipping fee of $502.98, creating a total of $27,107.43 due. Unfortunately, we're short $10,773.43, which I would propose funding the shortfall from alternate funding sources such as asset forfeiture, speed cameras, and the possibility of legit grant funding. There is some grant funding that's available through legit for bodywork cameras. Funding for the following years of 19, 20, 21, and 22 would be reflected in future budgets under the appropriate item. So I'm requesting approval to enter into the 5-year contract with AXON Cameras /evidence.com for the amount of $33,216 per year for an overall total of $159,971.43. And I'll answer any questions if there are any.
Thank you, Chief. Ms. Crary?
So they'll come in this year, replace all our cameras, correct?
Correct. And give us additional cameras. They're actually, no. They're replacing not only the cameras, but the docking stations, all the equipment that we currently have, they're replacing it. We're trading it in. They're giving us about $50,000 discount on the overall price.
And then in 2 years, they'll do what to the cameras?
2.5 years, they're going to come in and they're going to do the exact same thing. They're going to replace everything. And then 2.5 years after that, so at year 2.5 or 2.5, they'll replace everything, and at year 5, they'll replace everything as long as we have the contract with them. In addition to maintaining the extended warranties and anything else that's needed, as well as licensing and all the other necessary.
So if a camera breaks now, just in the regular course,
We return it to them, and they send us a new one. We have an extended warranty program. And in fact, they have notified us that some of the cameras are slightly out of adjustment, out of focus, and they've asked for them to be sent back to be replaced.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Crary. Mr. Ricks?
No question.
Thanks. Mr. Smalls?
No questions.
Thank you. Ms. Nicholas?
I have one question. You said that the period has been suspended from 180 to 366 days for retention. What happens if it's something that's like 380 days? Is it obtainable or?
Basically, the way the system works is if I'm involved in an incident and I feel it's going to lead to litigation and or it's an on-view arrest, it's tagged as evidence. And what that means is once I have tagged it and flagged it, and we can tag it for internal affairs, whatever, we have certain criteria, we can tag it, it's held indefinitely. What happens is if it's just a random stop and talk or a report or just there's no indication that it's going to lead to anything, at day 367, it's automatically deleted by the system.
Okay, that leads to my question. Actually, it's a question for Kevin. Kevin, are they actually deleting this, or are they just making it unavailable?
Actually, Mr. Liz, this is the police are managing this program. It's cloud-based, and when we made the decision to go with them, it is fully managed by Rich and his department.
I understand.
But I can tell you this, at 366, it will be gone. They'll set a date 1 year from the date it arrives, and it would be gone. That's what we do.
Okay, that's what you're doing.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Okay, so it's not just can't get to it, it's deleted.
Yeah, it's software-driven.
All right.
Yep.
Then we're consistent with our procedures. So somebody couldn't come in and say, well, go and retrieve it.
No, it's
We're going to
approved
look
by
like
the
the
state.
White House then.
Yeah, and there's no human interaction. The data's set from the original. But like Rich said, on all the stuff, if we know there's an incident, something going on, it's put on a DVD and evidence or however we do it.
Well, it's also stored on the cloud by evidence.com until we release it. So if I have an incident that's going to go to court and it gets continued and continued and continued, as long as I have flagged it, until I go in and remove that flag, it is held indefinitely. It's not going anywhere. It's
And then
there.
when you remove the flag, it is gone.
At 360, the clock starts again
Yeah, okay, I
for
understand.
the retention period per
All
the
right.
state mandate.
It's a very subtle difference, but it can get you in trouble. If you didn't delete it, you just marked it as deleted.
Well, and the other thing, just
Kevin understands that.
Just for the record, it's all CJIS compliant. Everything is, they meet and or exceed all the standards that are set.
Okay, all right. Okay, anything, if everybody's good with this will be introduced on Monday night for approval? Okay. Anything else?
Reason to rush it?
Huh?
Is there any reason to rush it? In other words, suspend the rules?
No, we don't, this is a contract, so we'll introduce it and get it approved. Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else come before the council? I'll just note that I'm not going to be here Monday night, and Ms. Nicholas will be running the meeting. I'll be at another meeting in Cincinnati for 3 days, and she has assured me that everything will go smoothly on Monday night. Okay, meeting's adjourned.